Couple in Strength, episode 2.
Episode 2.
The Big Deuce. We are still at Union Fitness. We just filmed episode 1, but we wanted to just keep this ball rolling. We want to make sure we have some content prepared as we start to release stuff and launch this. Our little baby, our little child. She's not pregnant, thank God.
You have to have sex to be pregnant.
I've been sick. I'm actually starting to feel better today.
You set yourself up for that one.
I know. I need to start taking care of my woman, so I know.
Okay.
I get it.
That's fine.
So we had some ideas on what we would do for episode 2, just the way it worked out. I'm going to let Yessie run away with, what was it called, the BarBELLES? Or?
It was the OSU BarBELLES finale event. What that is Alicia, part of Elite FTS. She is the personal trainer director, I believe, that kind of oversees the programming that they do for powerlifting. It's a 12-week program, and they had maybe 30 plus girls.
These were all college
this
students?
year. These were all college students. Typically, at the end of the 12-week program, she has a speaker for the finale event to kind of give, I guess, like just have someone come in and give their perspective in the fitness industry, powerlifting, what have you, and just leave more with the physical aspect of the program. It's more of like the emotional, the vulnerability that goes with it too. And what to take away from. Like, they want to ensure that they leave knowing they can go to the gym, be confident, learn how to work with others, as well as feel confident in whether they're going to pursue powerlifting in like as a competitive sport, or just like daily, I just want to train and look good. So I went this past weekend with one of our training partners, Heather, and Julia Ladusky ended up being the speaker for the.
Well, it was last minute. She had somebody signed up last minute.
Yeah, so last minute, I don't. She told me not to mention that.
Yeah, don't say who it is.
But Julia ended up saving the whole event and saving Alicia, and was able to come out last minute, which was really, really cool on her part. And I mean, we had a lot of takeaways from it. Heather and we spoke about it on the way back on the drive to Pittsburgh, and we just kind of went through everything.
So you started telling me about it, and I told you to shut up.
Yeah, he was like, hey, how was it? And I'm like, he's like, no, shut up, we'll just film it. I'm like,
because I wanted to be genuinely surprised and excited about what your highlights were without, with the camera instead of let's go over it twice, and we want this to be as organic as possible.
Right.
Give me tell me about it. Tell me whatever you're going to tell me on the porch.
So I really am glad that I made the last minute decision to go. I know Alicia invited me a few weeks ago, and again, Alicia, thank you for inviting us and letting us know about the event. It kind of ties in with just speaking, like, I have goals, or we have goals as well together to do. Hi! Yeah.
I have your pants.
Oh, thanks for my pants. Sorry. That was Heather. I forgot what I was saying.
Well, it's just before you even start, it sounds like your filter was you want to be able to speak and public speak and be open. So your filter was just Julia's stage presence more than anything.
Yeah.
Like that was your biggest takeaway.
It was kind of like those situations where you had to see it for yourself, or someone had to do it, and it's like a light bulb hit in my head. So.
Well, because you're close with Julia.
Yeah, and that too.
And you were going to an event that you didn't know anybody else.
Right.
And the only person you can relate to was Julia, and you see her get up there and do her thing, and it's very natural, and you're like, oh, I could do that.
Exactly.
Like, not that you would stand up and do it that day, but.
And I would have. Honestly, I really would have. I guess I was just thinking too into it and putting limitations on myself. I realized.
All right, look, you're going back to
what?
You're going back to beating yourself up about public speaking.
Okay.
Tell me about the weekend. Tell me your takeaways. Tell me what you liked.
that's where I'm headed.
Okay.
Can you shut up? Holy shit! It's not all about you.
I'm asking you questions.
I know. Okay.
It's not all about your public speaking skills.
I understand that. So, do we need 5 minutes and regroup?
Go ahead.
All right. So, Julie's presentation, going back to that, she basically was storytelling her presentation. It wasn't like bullets going through, you know, certain like specific details. She kind of like winged it. I don't want to say she did wing it, but it was very natural. And she was basically telling the girls, you know, there was one point where I didn't know a lot about powerlifting, or I didn't know a lot about bodybuilding, or I didn't feel like I knew the resources or whatnot. And she's been in that point where she didn't feel confident. So obviously that's something that a lot of us can relate to and have been to that point.
Was that more of a function of her like being a female strength coach, or like
Yeah.
where did she feel out of place?
So she started being a strength and conditioning coach at a very young age, and her thoughts were, you know, am I good enough, or do I know enough? And obviously that goes along with lack of confidence and self-talk, which is one of the major things that she spoke about. And
sorry to interject.
No, keep going.
This is a conversation. Yes, he had a connection for me. Guy's a CEO of a company, super sweet guy. Just looking for some personal training and just in a rut, and wants to change his self-talk, basically.
Right.
Because he's built a super successful company, but now he doesn't feel confident or passionate or whatever those things might be, and that's a conversation I need to have with him. But the one thing I did tell him was like, the way you talk to yourself, you know, the self-talk, if that person were your coach, would you hire him? It's that saying, I'm sure it's been around forever, but it's real simple. Are you building yourself up or pulling yourself down?
Yeah.
So,
and, you know, she also mentioned, and it comes in waves. Like, you know, we feel good at certain points where it's like, yeah, you know, this is awesome. And then we get into a rut again. And that's just kind of part of life, you know. And it's just a matter of getting through that. She was giving just personal examples of...
Yeah, what were some of the ways that she got over?
Yeah, so with powerlifting, it was a question she actually said that kind of stuck with me, and I had a pen and paper and I was like ready to write notes, and only one thing I wrote down was, why did you start? And that is a question that we have to ask ourselves when we're pursuing anything. She felt she was starting powerlifting for the wrong reasons, as far as just appeasing to other people, or because people told her to, or, you know, just reasons that weren't for herself. So that's when she kind of was in that rut and was like, you know, why do I feel this way? And then she mentioned she went to a local powerlifting meet and realized, you know, she missed it, and she didn't realize the bigger picture and what it is to be part of the powerlifting community. And that's why I kind of encouraged her to get back into it. She also mentioned it starting as a young athlete. She, I think, ran track in high school or in college.
Okay.
And it was the whole, you know, you want to look good in magazines because you see it, and you know, she was just overly obsessed with, you know, being a good athlete or having the perfect body, or, you know, what have you. And she realized she was doing it for the wrong reasons. So it took her years to realize, you know, what is the root of the problem? Why am I between two extremes? Like, completely in a rut or just overly obsessed doing it. Like, she couldn't find a happy medium. So that's something that she kind of had everyone like realize and say, you know, why did you start, or why are you doing this? And that really hit home for me.
Yeah, I mean, perspective is a powerful thing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we joke.
Yeah.
We powerlifting has the potential to be the greatest sport ever. It's very simple. It's very measurable. It's, you know, you got better or you didn't. Very easy to compete. We fracture it. You know, we break down all the federations. That's our own damn fault.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of days where I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? It's
I
hard,
think we all
man.
have those days.
It's hard. And if you can, your perspective comes from, why did I start doing this? What does this mean for me? And why is it important to me? So, it's good to, always good to question.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it gave me perspective on it. Then she also went into bodybuilding because she does both as well. And knowing that industry, I have very little knowledge in that part, but it's.
I don't know. I was agreeing with you.
I mean, you do have a bodybuilding body.
I think I could do it one day. I'll probably do it when I can't fucking lift heavy anymore.
And Julia and Alicia were like, have you ever thought about it? Because I was getting the biggest bump doing curls. They're like, you kind of have the frame for it. I'm like, I like food too much.
For selfish reasons, I don't want you to. I don't want either of us to go through the dieting bullshit.
That's the hardest part of the whole thing.
I know.
Well, actually, incorrect. This is what I'm getting into. She knew in that industry, she was fortunate enough to, I guess, work with John Meadows. And it was more of the mental toughness to get into that industry because it's very political. It's only about aesthetics, not necessarily how much you can lift, or whatnot. But and I think a lot of people that go into it don't know the mind games it could give you, and it's like a downward what's the word I'm going for?
Say it in Spanish. Do you know it in Spanish?
No.
Yes, you do. Do you?
Basically, these women
Downward
just become
spiral.
Downward spiral. I'm sorry. I'm sometimes I talk Spanglish. He gets frustrated. But that's okay. That's why I like white boys, baby.
What is the word in Spanish?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
I don't. And people go into it coming out and they start having body image issues. Why am I not stage, ready in real life kind of thing? So she was just kind of touching or explaining her experience on that, and she realized, and she learned this from John Meadows, was, you have to go with the approach on that stage that you want to look the way you want to improve, not necessarily what the judges want you to look like, if that makes sense. I don't know if I said that right.
That was very confusing. So what you're saying is, Julia is going back on stage after a year or whatever.
She's like, I want a bigger back, I want a
finish?
smaller waist. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Julia looked like on her competition a year ago.
Okay.
She wanted to improve, regardless of what the judging said for
Right.
that competition. She wanted a bigger back. She wanted a fucking quad sweep. I don't know whatever the fuck those people were into.
Yeah. Again, I don't know a lot about this.
But that's what you're getting at,
Right,
right?
exactly.
It's less. Hey, I want to fit the mold. It's more.
Exactly.
This is what I want to look like. When
the
I step on stage.
individuality of it. Yeah.
And
exactly.
I think that's empowering, right?
Yes, that's very.
not.
Because you're doing it for you. You know what you want to look like. You want to improve overall, and that's what you have to kind of set your goal at. So it's not what it's not what others want. It's what you want, and that is the most important thing.
So that's a way to avoid that pitfall of,
Yes.
of body image issues.
Exactly.
And I think people are always going to be subject to it. I'm subject to it. I went from 240 to 180 with my bout with ulcerative colitis. And, it's easy. I can make jokes about it, and it's okay, because I know, one, my biggest issue is I want my health back. Two, if I put my weight back on after that, great, and I'll compete and do everything. But, it's hard not to say that I look in the mirror and I'm like, it's a hard pill to swallow. So I think everybody's kind of subject to that in some way.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like that's why a lot of people related to what she was saying. And we can relate to people more than we think. It's just a matter of communicating that and being like, hey, I've been there too. How can we work together?
Well, here's a totally different tangent, but I like Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations. Remember that show?
Mm-hmm.
Anthony's a chef or whatever and travels the world, but he did a show in like Thailand or something with Barack Obama. Politics aside.
Oh, I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, but politics aside, Bourdain made the comment to President Obama. He said, "I wish more," because Americans that have passports is like a very low percentage compared to other people across America or across the world. Because obviously, if in Europe you need to go to different countries, and it's like going to a different state here. But his point was, I wish more Americans had passports, because when you go out and do these things and you see people in other countries, we're not that different. We're the same people. There's a handful of people that have power and make decisions and fuck shit up. There's a handful of people that do some really good things too in the same breath. But long story short, there's a me and her somewhere else in the world. And
Right.
we're all the same people, man. We like to have food, and we like to sit, and we love each other, and we want a roof over our heads, and we want to take care of the people that matter to us. And yeah, I mean, it's discouraging in some ways, but it's also enlightening in some ways. And you kind of just, even just in America, there are plenty of people that are fucking just like you and me. And the more you can embrace that and understand that, if you treat somebody like, this is a Joe Rogan quote, if you can treat somebody like it's you living a different life, the whole world would be a fucking better place.
Yes.
You roll the dice, and we were fortunate to be born in America. There are some people that aren't so lucky, and there's some people that maybe are luckier. I don't fucking know, but anyways, that kind of ties back into some perspective.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
sorry.
And then it's funny, she brought up a quote that ironically is one of my favorite quotes. I don't know it by memory, but I know
Oh, this will be good.
this the world you desire can be won. And that's kind of how she ended everything. She read the whole quote, but kind of like how you mentioned, it's like, we go through a day-to-day struggle. I mean, life happens sometimes, and sometimes it inhibits us from reaching our goal, or to become a pilot, or because we have a family at home and we have to stay local, or we wanted to travel but we're in a relationship and we have to be in Pittsburgh. Just kidding. Like, life happens, and we have to keep that in mind, but it shouldn't mean that we can't attain those goals. So that's kind of like how she ended it. But
Sounds like some pretty good takeaways.
it was a lot. It was great takeaways. And just watching her up there personally, I just wrote one thing down, and the rest of the day my focus was on her.
Well, that's the power of Elite FTS. I mean, not to shameless plug, but we just have so many cool people.
We do.
So many people that just more experienced than fucking you can shake a stick at. People that are selfless.
And it's not even, we don't even look at, who is more experienced or who has more knowledge. It's like, we feed off of each other. Any way any of us can help each other, we help. So that kind of gave me the confidence from Julia, knowing that she was young as a strength and conditioning coach, and she felt kind of like similar to how I feel. I mean, maybe I'm experiencing some lack of confidence.
Yeah, you do.
And it really isn't that shouldn't be the focus. Yes, like, I'm aware of those things, but how can I get better? And that should be my focus. Not putting limitations on myself, and just being who I am and what I can offer and give you, and learn myself along the way about myself. Just everything. I just realized it's just not as difficult as it should be. Kind of thing. So sometimes you suffer from paralysis through analysis. Yes, I do.
It's not perfect, so you don't act. And
Right.
If I look back at the way I used to teach the squat 2 to 3 years ago, and I'm embarrassed, to be honest with you. Now, the people that I taught that style of technique to got better that day. They did. But everything that I've learned in the past 2 years, I'm like, I really wish I would have done it. But had I not, if I was suffering from paralysis through analysis, and I just didn't help, then those people wouldn't have got better.
Right.
Was it perfect? Absolutely not. But it never would have been
It
perfect.
never will be.
So point is, be confident in who you are, what you know, what your experience is, but be confident in what you don't know. And,
Exactly.
And wear that and
Yeah.
say, hey, Julia, I'm having trouble teaching this guy how to squat. Can you hop in and help?
Right.
Or whatever. Doesn't
It's
matter,
having the
whatever.
confidence to be yourself, and and just being capable of certain things, but it's also knowing that it's okay not to know things as well. Just kind of what he mentioned. So it's just,
So it was a good weekend.
yeah, it really was a great weekend, and I'm glad Heather as well went with me. She started training with us maybe a few months ago.
Longer than that, 6 months, because we were still on burgers. We
And
had
she
no-
mentioned like she's just never been a part of this type of environment or community, where we're all trying to help each other out and do the best we can and live, learn, pass on, sort of thing. So she felt the same way I did, with that experience, and she was very fortunate about it. And
gives you
she's-
some affirmation that
yeah, that
this
you know
really is what I thought it was.
exactly, yeah. So
I gotcha.
it was nice to hear.
Cool. Well, I know you had a good weekend. I'm finally glad to hear about it. But that's it. Episode 2, Coupled in Strength. Signing off.
Should we end like in a kiss?
Absolutely not.
Or like we go like this and like interlock,
That's
like
okay.
we're doing.
It's terrible.
No.
I don't have any biceps yet. Give him some. See you guys.
Bye guys.